What do you make of all of this, then? Do you think Lee Anderson's comments were worthy of suspension?
Yes, I do. I think they were absolutely disgraceful. I mean, it's pretty rare for me to side with Sadiq Khan, but I absolutely agree with him that this was an Islamophobic comment by Lee Anderson. I think it's absolutely appalling that we've got to the point where senior conservative figures feel it's okay to say these things. So much of politics is it's kind of grey areas, and actually you need debate, and you don't want people to be shut down for things they say in the vast majority of cases. But actually, this is a binary. Someone is either on the side of Islamists, giving London away to Islamists, or they're not. And in this case, they're not. It's a conspiracy theory. And it's not as if they're short of legitimate reasons to attack Sadiq Khan. He's totally failed on crime, totally failed on housing, totally failed on transport. And by resorting to these sorts of prejudiced conspiratorial attacks, Lee Anderson is taking the debate away from scrutinizing and raising the legitimate failures of Sadiq Khan as mayor of London and moving it back on to Tory infighting. And we know that actually voters hate this infighting. And whenever the attention is drawn back on to the divisions within the Conservative Party, their poll rating falls, support for them falls, and it makes it harder for the Conservatives to push through with their agenda. And it really does make you wonder. We hear a lot of criticism, some of it very valid, I think, that we have a Conservative government, but we don't have Conservative policies being pushed through. The tax rate is extremely high at the moment, for example. And there are lots of different groups that are blamed for this. Actually, it does make you wonder if really it's just the low quality of individual that is at the forefront of the Conservative Party right now.
Yeah,
and
but
the British right really needs a rethink.
Have we reached a situation where someone can't criticise the impact that Islamists, by which he means Islamic extremists, Islamic fundamentalists, you can't criticise the impact they're having on politics without being branded Islamophobic?
No, I don't think we have at all. There's a massive difference between criticising Islamism, criticising that extremism. I think there's a lot of valid criticism that could be made there. And we've seen the threats that have been made to MPs. We've seen a lot of the kind of threats that have been made to the Jewish community as well in the aftermath of the October the 7th attacks. But there's a big difference between criticizing that, drawing attention to that, and making prejudiced conspiratorial comments about Sadiq Khan, because he is not in the pocket of Islamists. There is no evidence to suggest that. He has not given the capital away to his mates, as Lee Anderson put it, his mates, the Islamists, because he's not on their side. And we know that when there are rising threats to politicians, it's dangerous and disgraceful to say those sorts of things, to raise those sorts of conspiracy theories, because it increases the threat on Sadiq Khan, who is not an Islamist. So it's absolutely about making that distinction, about saying you can criticize Islamism, you can draw attention to it, but you can't raise conspiracy theories that create threats to innocent people.
Context to all of this is important, isn't it, Jack? It comes as reports in the Sunday Times and the Sunday Telegraph this morning are talking about private security being deployed for MPs as threats, extremism threats, are rising.
Yeah, and I think it would be really sad if we see the level of access that people have to politicians in this country fall. You look at other countries, look at America, for example, people don't have anywhere near the level of access to their representatives that we do here. And actually, if we don't take control of this, if we don't reduce the threats to MPs, if we don't take control of the discourse and encourage people to be responsible with their language as well as with their actions, then actually we're just going to see more threats to MPs. And the end result of that is going to be that people will have less access to their representatives and won't be represented as well. And I think that would be such a sad thing for the United Kingdom.
I know we haven't had an apology as such from Lee Anderson, but he has said, I understand the difficult position that I've put both the Chief Whip and the Prime Minister in with regard to my comments. I fully accept they had no option but to suspend the Whip in these circumstances. It's not an apology, but it's an acknowledgement, isn't it?
Well, it's not an apology, though. And I think that's the crucial thing. If Lee Anderson were to apologize fully, withdraw his comments, then there would be grounds to let him back into the party. But I think when you do something like this, when you bring the party into disrepute, quite frankly, really you do need to draw a clear line and say, actually, no, you need to apologize. You need to withdraw those comments. Otherwise, we're not letting you back in, because otherwise it will become a scandal again. And the whole purpose of withdrawing the whip from him in the first place will be kind of nullified, because then attention will be drawn back on the Tory infighting, because there will be lots of people within the Tory party who think Lee Anderson's comments were disgraceful, who won't want him to be let back in without an apology. So I don't see how Rishi Sunak can do anything but continue to leave Lee Anderson out in the cold until we get a proper apology, if indeed we do get one at all.
Do you think it could be a possibility that he actually goes over to join the Reform Party? Because apparently he's been offered a place in the Reform Party by Nigel Farage.
Well, yeah, this is what we're hearing in the papers this morning. I think the jury's still out on that one. I think Lee Anderson certainly comes across as fairly committed to the Conservative cause, though I'm not sure if he will be defecting to Reform UK anytime soon. And certainly looking at the electoral dynamics in his seat, I don't think Reform UK, I don't think he's going to do any better with Reform UK than he would do with Conservatives. It looks like that seat is very much going back to Labour at the next general election. So I guess we'll have to wait and see on that one. But certainly if he continues with his decision not to make an apology, perhaps Reform UK are going to be the only party who are prepared to take him on.
OK. Jack Rowlett, good to see you this morning. Thank you.